Welcome back to Lost Us channel. My name is Anton Bieltsin. I'm a criminal defense attorney in the Southern District of California, here in San Diego. This Ninth Circuit case can be best summarized by the following quote: that the profile tendered by the Border Patrol agents was calculated to draw into its law enforcement net a generality of persons, unmarked by any really articulable basis for reasonable suspicion. But before we discuss the Fourth Amendment and reasonable suspicion, I want to first thank you for joining me on YouTube and watching my channel grow throughout the years. And now you can listen to the same content exclusively on Spotify. If you're interested in this channel in a podcast form, go to Spotify now and look for the podcast called Collect Call with Lost Ash, and you will get the same content that you're used to in an audio form. So join me on Spotify, and thanks again for watching me on YouTube.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Lost Ash Law Firm
at Western Region, San Diego. To accept this call, press 5. To refuse this call, hang up now. Thank you for using T-Netics. You may start the conversation now.
Today we're discussing United States versus Garcia-Camacho, which is a Ninth Circuit case that deals with the Fourth Amendment and reasonable suspicion, which is a standard required in order for the police to detain a motorist. But before we discuss the Fourth Amendment, let me give you some factual background. On September 27, around 7:30 in the morning, a Border Patrol agent observed a Chevrolet pickup truck driving on Interstate 5, driving northbound near Grapesville, California, which is a city located about 300 miles north of United States-Mexico border. It is somewhere between Los Angeles and Bakersfield, just to give you an idea. When the officer observed the truck, there were two individuals inside, a driver and a passenger, and the truck was driving in the fastest lane, 3 lanes away from the Border Patrol agent. At the time, the Border Patrol agent was processing 11 undocumented aliens on the side of the road. The truck was driving slightly faster than the flow of traffic. And as the truck passed, both the driver and the passengers continued to stare forward without acknowledging the Border Patrol agent. But as the truck passed the Border Patrol agent, the agent testified that the passenger looked back and had that look on his face, like he was surprised, or a look that illegal aliens usually give Border Patrol agents when they're about to run. Additionally, the Border Patrol agent testified that Interstate 5 is what he called a fastest route to economic opportunities. With that in mind, the Border Patrol agent began pursuing the pickup truck. He noticed that the pickup truck seemed loaded, the way it was driving over bumps, it was going up and down as though there was things inside the bed of the truck, maybe illegal aliens, or maybe narcotics. So he made a decision to pull over the pickup truck. The driver initially did not stop. He continued driving another mile before pulling over. But the agent said that it seemed suspicious, but to him it didn't seem like he was trying to flee. Maybe the driver was just trying to find a good place to pull over. When the agent approached the driver, the vehicle, he noticed that there were 5-gallon containers, sacks of chemicals, and a gas cylinder. The agent recognized that the equipment is usually used in manufacturing of methamphetamine. With that suspicion, he arrested the 2 individuals, and then he searched inside the truck, where he found a firearm, paperwork showing registration of that firearm to the driver, and other documents. Both the driver and the passenger filed a motion to suppress at the lower court, saying that all the items that I've just described should be suppressed or thrown out of court because the officer did not have reasonable suspicion to pull them over. They're saying that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Now, we're the Ninth Circuit, meaning in the lower court, the driver and the passenger lost their motion. Now they're appealing in the Ninth Circuit, and they're renewing their argument. They're saying that under the Fourth Amendment, this is an illegal search and seizure. Now let's remember, the Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures, meaning that officers usually have to have a warrant before they search or seize you. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, and on my YouTube channel, I have a number of videos dealing with vehicular searches and all of the exceptions that we know apply under the Fourth Amendment. Now, under the Fourth Amendment, officers need to have reasonable suspicion in order to pull over a motorist. Now, we also know that a gloss on the rule prohibits reasonable suspicion from being based on broad profiles which cast suspicion on entire categories of people without any individualized suspicion of a particular person that's being stopped. Meaning that reasonable suspicion really needs to be focused on the person that's being stopped. And we can't just use general profiles that apply to everyone on the road. So here's what the Ninth Circuit says. They begin their discussion by talking about another case, Rodriguez. And here's what happened in Rodriguez. Here's the profile that we had in that case. In Rodriguez, the following factors were deemed insufficient to support a finding of reasonable suspicion. Number one, that interstate aid is a notorious route for alien smugglers. Number two, the defendant did not acknowledge the agent as he passed their marked car. Number three, defendant's car was a kind that agents thought could be used for alien smuggling. The fourth factor, although the agents saw only the defendant in the car, it appeared to be heavily loaded and kind of floated over the bumps in the road. Factor 5, defendant was a Hispanic male. Number 6, while being followed, defendant looked at the agent several times in a rearview mirror and swerved slightly within the lane. The court found that these factors were insufficient because the profile tendered by the agents was calculated to draw into the law enforcement net a generality of persons unmarked by any really articulable basis for reasonable suspicion. The court, in our case, in Garcia-Camacho, draws parallel from the Rodriguez case. They say that the first 5 elements are almost identical. Number 1, that in our case, the agent also testified that Interstate 5 is the quickest route to economic opportunities for illegal aliens, which is very similar to what the agent testified in the Rodriguez case. Number 2, the defendants looked straight ahead and did not acknowledge him or his partner. Number 3, that the truck was used and it was the kind that could be used for alien smuggling. Number 4, the truck appeared heavily loaded. Number 5, that defendants were Hispanic males. That Garcia-Camacho was driving the truck faster than the flow of traffic. Number 7, that he looked surprised and terrified. Number 8, that the truck proceeded for some distance, about a mile, mile and a half, before pulling over. We know from this case, and from the one previously discussed on my channel, a Ninth Circuit case, Gonzalez-Riviera, that under Ninth Circuit law, a driver's failure to look at the Border Patrol cannot weigh in the balance whether there is existence of reasonable suspicion. the court noted, a driver's failure to look at the Border Patrol's car cannot be used to justify the agent's suspicion, since the opposite reaction, a driver's repeated glancing at the Border Patrol car, can also be used to justify the agent's suspicion. To give weight to this type of justification would put the officers in a classic heads I win, tails you lose position. And the driver, of course, can only lose. In our case, the government also makes another argument. They say that we know that the initial observation by the agent was that the pickup truck was driving faster than the flow of traffic. Well, we know that this might be an issue if this was regular police, but in the state of California, we know that Border Patrol agents cannot enforce traffic laws. Federal Border Patrol agents can only enforce federal law, meaning that their reasonable suspicion always has to be tied to some federal law, usually narcotics, drug smuggling, or alien smuggling, or some other immigration law. So this is why in our federal cases, we never see the officers simply saying that the light is out, somebody's swerving, or committing some other crime that is a California or some state crime or traffic law. They always have to focus on federal law. And in this case, in Garcia-Camacho, the Ninth Circuit says that driving slightly faster does not add to reasonable suspicion, because some people slow down when they see law enforcement, some people go around the individuals that slow down and then go at exact speed, but we don't require people under federal law to drive exactly the speed limit next to Border Patrol agents. Of course, your speed can vary. Which brings us to the next factor that's different from Rodriguez. The government says that here, the passenger in the pickup truck had that face of terror or surprise. Well, the Ninth Circuit says that this is a completely subjective factor. Every person reacts differently to police, and every person can have a different look on their face when they're encountering law enforcement like Border Patrol agents. And by the way, the Ninth Circuit says maybe he had tear on his face because after all, the driver was speeding next to Border Patrol agent. And so if somebody doesn't know that Border Patrol agents cannot enforce traffic laws, you might be a little bit worried that the driver in your car is speeding. For those reasons, the Ninth Circuit says that the factors did not amount sufficiently to reasonable suspicion. And so, in fact, the lower court should have suppressed the evidence. And so, the Ninth Circuit remands and says that the suppression motion should be granted, and all the items seized should be thrown out of trial. Most likely, this case would result in a not guilty. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button if you're watching it on YouTube. And once again, if you like this channel, please go on Spotify. Look for my podcast called Collect Call with Lostash, and there you will see the same content in audio form, so you can listen to me while driving. But don't speed. Thanks for watching.